Hello, fiber friends. Today we're going to go through my fiber stash. I'm going to share with you some plans that I have for Tour de Fleece and try and figure out what from my stash I want to spin up. So if this sounds like just your cup of something, grab something to keep your whistle wet, grab something to keep those magicy hands of yours busy, and let's get started. Good morning, fiber friends. Welcome to another episode of the Knit, Knot, and Weave podcast. My name is Dorothy, and I'm coming to you from Columbia, Maryland. This is my little corner of the YouTubes where I like to share and document my fiber adventures with you all. And today, we are going to talk all about Tour de Fleece. We're going to go through my fiber stash, and I'm going to try and figure out which of my braids or rolags or bats I am going to spin up for the next 3 weeks for the Tour de France, and then a couple of days of rest, and then there's the Tour de Femme. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back and spending some time with me. And if you are a new viewer, welcome to the crazy. It's just how life rolls over here. I will post right over here where you can find me out on the interwebs. I will link all shops that I mention down below in the description box so that you can have access to everything in case you come across something that you like. Now, I can't guarantee that the colorways that I'm going to be sharing today are still available. Some of the shops may not even be here. I don't know. Some of the stash is old. Some I know no longer dye fiber, but it all depends on what I come across and what strikes my fancy. So let's get started. So, for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about and you are in the fibery community, the Tour de Fleece is run, or hosted, I should say, at the same time as the Tour de France. So as the bikers are spinning on their bikes, those of us in the fiber community that are spinners will be spinning on our spinning wheels. Now, does that mean if you're not a spinner, you can't participate? Absolutely not. You could certainly knit, crochet, weave, do whatever fibery craft that makes you happy during this time. During the Tour de France, during the Tour de France, there are several days where there may be challenges for the bikers, so you can set challenges for yourself, be it in knitting, crocheting, or spinning. You can challenge yourself to try out a new technique. You can challenge yourself to, I don't know, spin up a breed that you have never spun before. You could challenge yourself to try out a stitch pattern in knitting or crocheting that you haven't tried before or you thought was a little bit too difficult, and you just take the time to figure it out. There are also some rest days during the Tour de France, and usually those of us that are participating in the Tour de Fleece will take those days to rest our little fingers as well. Some do, some don't. It is totally up to you. There is no place that you need to sign up to participate. There are some vendors or some other YouTube folks or indie dyers that may have, that may do a little team that they want to sort of run during the Tour de Fleece. I'm going to get these so mixed up, and I apologize. And within those little teams or groups, you can also do challenges for yourself, just the same as you would, but there is no place for you that you need to sign up. There is no place where you need to register. It is totally just a worldwide time to hone in on your crafts and enjoy them. So this will be my third year of doing the Tour de Fleece. And I have two sort of, not really challenges, but two new things. Well, one will be a challenge. One is just a new learning in the fiber field that I'm looking forward to. So the Tour de France and the Tour de Fleece will both start on July 4th. Several folks have already started prepping because those who are going to spin from a fleece usually take the time beforehand to prep by cleaning the fleece, picking, carding, doing whatever they need to do to get it ready to be put on the spinning wheel. The actual spinning is when you will be starting the actual Tour de Fleece. The Tour de France and the Tour de Fleece will be for approximately 3 weeks. And then I think there are about 4 days between when the Tour de France ends and the Tour de Femme begins. And then the Tour de Femme is another week. During that time, there are timed trials for the Tour de France. And I guess you could do a time trial of your own on those days. I have no idea what you would do for a time trial. Maybe you can, I don't know, see how fast you can knit. I have no idea. There are mountain days, there are hilly days, and then there are flat days, meaning the roads are flat, the roads are hilly, or the mountains. Mountain days are usually the challenge days. I don't have any set plans of what I'm going to be doing on the, a challenge day versus a flat day. Um, I do have plans of what I would like to get done during this time. One of the things is on the second weekend of the Tour de Fleece, I will be heading down to a friend's house. Hi, Margaret. Hi, Lori. And we are going to be cleaning some fleeces. So I'm super excited about that because I have not cleaned a fleece. So I will be able to see and learn how to do it, from washing to carding to getting it ready for Margaret to start spinning. I did manage to catch the last Melly Knits update, and so I bought some. It's about 115 grams of a Gotland, Targhee, and Yak fiber that has been cleaned, but that I will need to pick and prep. Yeah, pick, prep, and do whatever in order to get it ready for me to spin up. So I'm looking forward to that. While we are at Margaret's house, we will also be doing some dyeing. She wants to dye up some of her fleeces so that she can spin in color. I think she might have some spins that she also wants to dye while we're there. So we'll see what we manage to get done in the weekend. I think we're going down either Thursday night or Friday and probably staying till Monday. So I'm looking forward to that. And then what else am I doing? One of the things I do want to challenge myself with is I have taken the sock spinning course through the School of Sweet Georgia. And I know I have somewhere in here some fiber that's good for socks. Some of it might be superwash merino and nylon, but I know I have some baby Southdown, which I understand is good for socks. And I think Dorset horn is good for socks. So I'll be looking for those because there are a couple of different ways that you could spin up socks. And some of them are 3-ply, some of them are 4-ply. I have never done a 4-ply before, and I'm assuming that I would have to spin my singles super, super thin. So we will have to see how well that goes. So on that note, why don't we get started with my fiber? So first up, I know I need to spin up this bag from Feederbrook Farms because I had spun up some of this. I had several of these bags that they're like they're mill ends. I had spun up several of them and started the Traveler Shawl. Unfortunately, I have run out of yarn. So luckily I had this bag in my fiber stash. So this is one thing I know I need to spin up so that I could hopefully finish my Traveler Shawl. Now, there's 2 other things I have here that I bought, I think, during my very first Tour de Fleece a couple of years ago. And this is a 5.5 ounce bat that I do not remember what is in it. It's from Withers Woolen Farm. So I'm sure there's some merino in here because I know, sorry for the crinkles, guys. So I'm sure there's some merino in here. There's probably some polypay. There might be some mohair, but look at the pretty colors that are in this one. I think he did a really nice job of blending the colors in. There is still a lot of veggie matter in here, so this will be maybe a last spin, who knows. Put that over here. Then this, oops, is some BFL roving that I purchased from, oh my God, I can't think of the farm now. I can't think of the farm. I will put the name of the farm down here, but it's BFL roving from one of her sheeps. And so this will probably be a practice in long draw. And I think this was an 8-ounce bag. It definitely looks more than 4 ounces, so I'm guessing it might be an 8-ounce bag. Those are two possibilities that might be more towards the end of Tour de Fleece, because if I don't finish them, I don't finish them. I'll just continue on with them over the summer. You might be wondering what I have in this box right here. This box has a breed study that I created for me and 2 of my friends that are in our knitting group, and I have not started yet. So maybe on some of those challenge days, I will challenge myself to pull some breeds out of here and spin them up. I think I managed to purchase 80-something different breeds from World of Wool long before the stupid tariffs interrupted all of my purchasing. And I also have some fiber that a friend brought back from one of her vacations, and so I just threw it in here as part of the breed study as well. You know what? I'll be right back. I need to go grab something. Okay, I'm back. So this is what I went to go grab. This is what we decided to use for our breed study. So it's a form that my girlfriend Deb made, and it's basically the same. It just has the name of the breed at the top, but there are things that you can put in here, like how it was prepared, what technique you might have used to spin it up, whether you did short forward, short backwards, from the fold. Maybe you put it on a drum carder, or you put it on words are failing me right now. Maybe you turned it into Rolags, what direction you twisted the singles in, how much you spun up. And then it goes into like the more technical aspects of spinning, like, how many wraps per inch for your single, what was the angle of twist for your single, what was the length of your singles, and then the same thing for if you turn it into a 2-ply or if you turn it into a 3-ply, and then any notes that you might want to put in here. There is a little section down at the bottom here where you can pull out a sample of the fiber and tape it down. And if you decide to knit up your sample, you can also attach it. So I have one of these for every one that we initially purchased to split for the breed study. And then I have a few blank ones at the end, since my girlfriend brought back something for us to try out during our breed study. So this will obviously be a very long-term project, but it's something to look forward to, because I'll be able to try out several different breeds. Some of the breeds that I purchased, I put this all together for the 3 of us. Some of the breeds that I purchased a braid in each color. So I may have Icelandic in, I don't know, 3 or 4 different colorways based on the color of the sheep, just to see if the color has anything to do with the feel or the texture, even though it's the same basic breed of the sheep. That was just something I was curious with. So anywho, at some point, I would love to be able to have this box empty, but it will not be this year. It probably won't be next year either. This is going to take me a little time to get through. So now, I will take a moment and I will show you my fiber closet where I have everything hidden. I wouldn't say hidden. I have, you can see behind me, this is the closet in my craft room. I have removed the doors and just left it open so that I could see everything and utilize it a little bit better. But there is like a 2-foot alcove on each side, and I've taken one alcove for all of my fiber. So on that note, let me show you what that closet looks like. Okay, friends, before we begin, I'm just going to share my little corner of my closet that houses all of my fiber. Ignore this. This needs to go on my actual floor loom. This is supposed to be Christmas tea towels, but there it is from top to bottom. It's a little shelf I managed to fit into the corner, or this little alcove of my closet. And then right in front of it is all the fiber that I have acquired, I would say probably since November, December of this past year. There's my little color alchemy kit from dyeing, and in that corner cube are all of my hand dyed so far. Up here are some Rolags that I haven't put away yet either. So let's go through everything and see what it is I'm thinking of spinning up for this year. So now that you have taken a peek at what my fiber cubby looks like, let's start going through my bins and seeing what things I may want to pull out and spin. I've only been spinning for 3 years, so there are still some things that I do have in my stash that I don't think I am ready to spin yet. And I will share some ideas, share some breeds that I have in here, and I won't go through every single piece with you guys. Some of this may wind up getting fast forwarded into like a little montage, and we will just see what we get at the end. So let's get started. Okay, bin number 1. Let's see what we've got in here. So I'm probably going to pull some of my Rolags out and maybe some of my bats to utilize this time to do some practicing of my long draw. So here we have, sorry about the crinkling, guys. I'm not about to take everything out. But this is Glowfish Rolags. It is a BFL and pulled sari silk with some Angelina. This is from JK Fiber Arts. You can see those pretty colors of purples and greens in there. And it looks like the sari silk is like that touch of turquoise here and there. So I'm going to put that one aside. Okay, so here are some unique braids that I bought pretty early on before I knew what I was purchasing. And they are from, and you will need to excuse my French. I did not take French in high school, nor did I take French in college. L'air artefacts. To me, it reads L'air artifacts. And it's a Canadian company. So this is a blend of Zorblas and Exmoor Blueface. Beautiful browns and plums in here. So this will be an interesting spin. It's a commercially combed top, so it is 60% Zorblas and 40% Exmoor Blueface, and it says it is 30 microns. So I believe this is considered a medium wool. I'm not positive. Let's see, what is this one? Oh, this one is 100% Masham. And maybe I bought these two to go together. I don't even remember now. So these are probably some of the ones that I'm going to think about spinning. This looks like 2 colors of the same. And this is Alpaca, BFL, and Polworth. It's 40% Alpaca, 30% BFL, and 30% Polworth. Looks like I got 2 colors of the same braid. 2 braids in the same color. Let's see, what is this one? Oh, these are both Hanwi wool, which is a New Zealand breed. And these actually go very well together color-wise. So these might get spun up together, one braid on each bobbin and then spun together. And then what do I have left here? Oh, this is a Cormo. Beautiful purples. This is another Cormo in darker purples with some brown. Those might go well together. And these are both Cormo. So these 4 are Cormo. Not sure if they'll all work together, but so that's one idea. So this one is South American, wool topped. I can't remember if this is one that doesn't felt and can be turned into sock yarn. I'll have to look this one up in the Fiber Bible. But this is from Bramble Ridge, in beautiful, like turquoisey greens, plum browns, and some golden yellows. These are some old fiber optics I bought off of my friend Patrick. It's a 50-50 blend of cashmere and silk. Certainly not ready to spin these up yet, but look at that beautiful green and this beautiful purpley blue. This is also an old fiber optic. It's a 80% merino, 20% silk. It's called Onyx to Crimson. It was one of their layered gradients. Unfortunately, fiber optics no longer dyes fiber. So this will get spun up when I have really, A, mastered thin singles, and B, gotten much better at doing chain plying. Because I would love to keep this in the gradient colorway that it is. These are 3 braids that I bought from D&D Fibers. I thought they were stunning and would look gorgeous together. This was before I knew that this was before I knew how difficult sari silk is to spin, at least for me. So these may be a little while before I get to them. These are some humbug braids that I purchased from Friends in Fiber that I'm thinking I might dye up before I spin them. I have merino, and I have 2 braids of each. So I have merino, I have a Corriedale humbug, a BFL. Okay. And a Jacob. If I'm going to dye any of them first, it'd probably be the Jacob, because I have not spun Jacob yarn yet. I've not spun Jacob fiber yet. So I have a few more Rolags to share, but this one is Paulworth and Mulberry Silk in beautiful shades of pink. And I do have 2 of these, but I think I'm going to save these since I got so much. They're 2.6 ounces, 2.6 ounces each. So I think I'm going to set these aside for maybe when I have practiced a little bit more with my long draw before I spin these up. So I'm going to put those over there. So here are 2 more sets of Rolags that I'd like to try and spin up and practice long draw with. These are also from Friends in Fiber. That is an Etsy shop. This one it just says wool spinning Rolags. It doesn't say what type of wool, and it's 2.2 ounces in shades of blue. So I may need to go back to my Etsy and see if the description has what wool this is. Merino Rolags in pinks and purples. So I think these will be fun to practice long draw with as everything goes flying over. And then I have these beauties. I'm just going to open them up and then I'll talk about them so that you guys don't hear the crinkling. Okay, so these are 2 bats that I purchased online. I do not have the name of the Etsy shop in here, but I will, if I can find it, I will list it down here in case you guys are interested. But this is a black base, and I guess I will need to. But look at this. Is that not gorgeous? So it is a black base. I'm guessing probably merino, with some sari silk, maybe some mulberry silk, and definitely a little bit of sparkle. So it looks like I have two of these. Here's the other one. And then these. Ooh. These are dark rainbow rolags. Look at this beauty. These I'm definitely going to save. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 rolags of this. So it's probably, I'm not going to say. If I find the information on Etsy, I will put it down below as to how much these are. But oh, they're beautifully done, nice and loosely. They're not cramped together, rolags. So these will probably spin up very nicely. And then here I have some Hanwi wool. And I bought this beautiful braid and this solid so that they could be spun together. There is, I think it's 4 ounces each. So, and this is from Adana Woolcraft. And I believe this was, yes, this was another Etsy purchase. So this one is called Santa Barbara. And this one is called Sunset Sea. So I think those are going to be very pretty spun up together. Here we have 2 braids for socks. So this one is 75% South Down Baby Doll, 12.5% alpaca, and 12.5% bio nylon. I believe this is the exact same thing. So this one is called Tie Dye, and this one is called Love Story. So these will hopefully be skeins of sock by the end of Tour de Fleece. So here I have 2 braids from Malabrigo. This one is Potion, and this one is Chameleon. And these will probably get spun up and plied together. I can't remember. I don't think I've ever spun Malabrigo before. So we'll see. So here are 2 interesting braids that I purchased from Yarn Hero. It is a 50% Corriedale wool, 25% bamboo, and 25% cotton. This one's called Abyss, and this one is called Barnacle. Now, I've never spun anything with bamboo or cotton. No, I have spun something with bamboo. I've not spun anything with cotton. So maybe one of these will get spun up since I haven't done anything from Yarn Hero yet. So here's something that I ordered from Chameleon Fiber Company on Etsy. And the one I'm thinking of spinning up is this gorgeous colorway. Now this is merino and sari silk and viscose. Now I'm not a fan of sari silk because I'm not good at it, but I may give it another whirl since I do have a lot of it in my fiber stash. I will have to eventually get better at it. But this one was on clearance and it was called Poodle Skirt. And I think I fell in love with the name before I even saw the braid. But look at those pinks, blacks, and grays. I think this is going to spin up beautifully. Now, do I spin this up by itself? Yeah, I think I'm going to spin this one up by itself and just see what it comes out with. There's not much yardage. Maybe it'll go into a weaving. My foot is falling asleep. So this box that I just brought down, it has all of my solid fibers in it. Some are merino, some are Corriedale fibers. I purchased this after I took a workshop with Jillian Moreno. She had us try different things, and I liked some of her ideas of spinning up like a multicolored yarn and what did she call it? Parallel drafting it with a solid, or mixing a variegated brand with like maybe a solid green or solid color. So I made some purchases for these to just sort of sit in the stash and see what I do with them. And then these were just a couple of various not mixed fibers. I think they're all merino, but mixed colors that I was going to try and play around with them that I purchased from World of Wool. Now those are all merinos. This one is a slightly different blend. This one is 80% merino wool, 10% bamboo, and 10% Erie silk. Never spun Erie silk, but this just so reminded me of the Maryland flag. I had to get it. It's actually called the Red Admiral, but look at all those colors. Just reminded me of the Maryland flag, so I thought that would be fun to spin up, but I don't think I'm going to do that one this year. And I have 200 grams of that one, so that would be a nice skein of yarn once I have that spun up. Here I have two bats. This one I purchased from JK Fiber Arts. And by the way, everything I share with you guys, I will be putting down in the show notes below. This is a Merino Angelina blend. It's a 5-ounce bat called Radiant Autumn. Absolutely gorgeous. I mean, look at this bat. It is just gorgeous. I know it's showing up a little bit more orange, but it's really more, there's some red in here. There's a lot of pink, some purple, a bit of orange, some Angelina, I'm sorry. And this is going to, I think I might finally spin this one up. Now here is a bat that I made with the help and guidance of Kirsten from JK Fiber Arts. I brought a very heavily, what I thought was a felted braid to her, and we managed to steam it open a bit, and then we put it on her drum carder, and we added some locks. We added a little bit of Angelina in here. I think there might be a little bit of sari silk in here. Oh yeah. So this may or may not get spun up this year. Who knows? We'll see. And then here is a pound. I don't know what I was thinking. I bought this at Maryland Sheep and Wool before I really learned what the hell I was doing with the spinning wheel. And I bought a whole pound of merino and Angelina. But it's in a beautiful gray and like a pinky lilac with some Angelina in there. This is not getting spun right now. I'm hoping that with a pound, I should be able, if I can spin a fingering weight yarn, I should be able to get a sweater out of this, I think. Hopefully. Probably a short sleeve sweater, but hey. But this is not getting done this year. Here are some more gorgeous Rolags that I'm going to hold off on spinning because I think these will be really pretty. And it's actually a whole 100 grams. It's merino, baby llama, tussa silk, and trilobal, which I think is a nylon. It's from Fellview Fibers, and it's royal malachite. Are those not beautiful? Oof. I'm going to take one out so you can see the gorgeousness of this Rolag. Those greens, that gold, so pretty. Now I have some BFL in here from Feederbrook Farms that I'd like to get spun up. I bought these two braids because I don't normally, green is a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but I thought these were pretty together with the green and with the blue and the green. And if they spin up a little lighter than they look in the braids, might be able to make something for my sister out of it, because she is an ocean girl and those are her colors, those aquas and blues and turquoise and greens. So definitely want to put those on the pile. I know my pile is getting bigger and bigger. So here's another interesting braid from Feederbrook Farms. I don't think it's BFL. I think it might be a merino with either, I can't tell if it's nylon or silk or bamboo, and they unfortunately don't have a label on here. But I think it was very inexpensively priced, and since it's pinks and purples in here, you see the color, I decided to buy it. So I think I want to get this one spun up just to see what it's like. I'm not a huge fan of braids that are made in this manner, but it doesn't look like it'll be too chunk. It doesn't look like it's going to have those big chunks like the red and white one that I talked about in my last video. So I'm going to put that one over there. I'm going to put the Rolags back in here. And I pulled this one out. This is from Alk and Me, and it's a Shanico and silk blend. So it's 80% Shanico wool, 20% mulberry silk. And I do love to spin Shanico, so I'm interested to see how the Shanico and silk will spin up. So here's something interesting. I purchased Muwata silk hanks from JK Fiber Arts, and I'm definitely not ready to spin these yet, but these are little silk hankies that you sort of spread out and spin. And I know she has spun these up on her YouTube channel. So when I get around to spinning these, I will definitely be watching her YouTube on how she spun hers up to make sure I'm doing it right. I've decided to pull these two because these are both Friends and Fibers. They're both Paul Worth and they're Irish eyes. So I was just thinking these might be more my sister's colors than these, but who knows? Once I spin them up together, I'll be able to better judge, or maybe I'll do a combo spin and do one bobbin in the Paul Worth and one bobbin in the BFL and mix them together and see what I get. That's an idea. And then I was going to pull this one out. This is from Walnut Farms Design. This is 100% merino. And this one's a merino, tweed, and bamboo blend. But I think I'm going to put this one back. And I am going to pull this one because I've heard a lot of people who enjoy oops, that came right off. Spinning up these loop bumps. And this one is, oops, and there goes. Perplexed, and it's a mix of merino, angelina, and nylon. It doesn't tell me what the percentages are, and it's almost 5 ounces. And I'm thinking that if I can spin this up nicely and thinly, maybe I'd be able to get a self-striping yarn out of this. If I do it all continuous and then chain ply it. So maybe I'll pull this. Now, it might not be super wash merino. that could be a problem. Maybe I'll look on their site, see if it would say. Okay. Well, I'm going to put this back in here because okay. So just a few more things to share that I pulled out. I have a superwash merino nylon that I purchased from Three Waters Farm. It's in the colorway Capture the Flag. So this is definitely a sock. This is definitely a sock fiber spin. I don't remember what I put. And then I have 2 bags of these scrappy sock bundles from Wound Up Fiber Arts. 90% superwash merino, 10% nylon, 10 different colorways. So I may think of spinning up 1 bag and seeing how it works out. I have 2 bags, but I have several sock yarn that I can choose from. I have this beautiful braid from Inglenook Fibers, and I'm not sure why, but it's called Bat in a Braid. Unless they drum carded it and dizzed it off. I don't know. But it's 50% South Down, 25% BFL, and 25% bio nylon. So this would make a good sock yarn. And the colorway is called Scrooge. So we'll see. And then 2 other sock yarns that I just picked up from Maryland Sheep and Wool this year is this Baby South Down from Apothecary Fabrications. Neither of these have a colorway on them, but this reminds me again of the Maryland flag. So maybe this is the one I will attempt to spin up. And I have these 3 beautiful braids from Zephyr Creek Farm. And they all have, it's all Shaniko wool, and they all have bits of purple in it. So I was thinking maybe this would be a pretty 3-ply. But again, this might be more towards the end of Tour de Fleece since I have spun up Shaniko before. So we'll hold off on this one, I think. And then the last thing I know I want to try and do for Tour de Fleece is I have a sample packet of Hanwi wool that goes in various different colors. And I'm thinking of spinning them each up individually to do some sort of a fade, maybe a fade shawl. So I have 6 sample packs. They're each 50 grams. So that's what, 300 grams. If I could spin it, well, it would probably be either a 2-ply or maybe if I could spin it thin enough, maybe I'll make it into a 3-ply. What do you think? Should I do a 2-ply or a 3-ply for a shawl? But if I do a 2-ply, I would have to split these bundles in half. If I did a 3-ply, I could just spin end to end and chain ply it. And if I chain ply it, I could possibly spin 2.5 bags together and attempt to make some sort of a gradient effect. I've never tried that. I wonder how that would work. So spinning up one color and then, would it be halfway down or 3/4 of the way down that I would have to start parallel drafting the new color with the old color? That's an idea. Have you ever attempted to spin up a gradient on your wheel? Not a braid that was dyed in a gradient, but separate colors. I mean, I know technically I could probably card a little of each color together, but then that would be a worsted, what am I thinking? That would be a woolen prep, and this is all going to be worsted spun. So I don't think that would work. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you have tried doing that. I would love to know your thoughts on that one. Okay, so let's wrap this up and review what things I have pulled out. So I definitely need to spin up this BFL from Feederbrook Farm so I can finish my traveler shawl. I definitely want to dye up. I definitely want to spin up this Hanwi, so I think I'll put this Hanwi away for next time, and I will spin these two up together. This is Alpaca, BFL, and Polworth. Now, I've done BFL before, and I've done Polworth. I've not spun Alpaca. But I think I'm going to hold off on these two as well. Put these over here with the Shanago. And I think I am going to spin up, well, if I get to all of this, the Masham and the Zwarblus and the Exmoor BFL. I'm sorry, the Exmoor Blueface. This has a rougher texture to it, so I'm wondering, Masham's not that soft either. Oh, so Masham's got a 38 to 44 micron count. And the Zwarblus Exmoor Blueface has a 30 micron count. So I may attempt to spin these up anyway. I will take a look in my sheep Bible book to see how they spin up, and I may try and talk with some of my spinning friends on the best way to spin up these coarser wools. Maybe they'll be softer if I spin them up as a single. So we'll see about that one. So that's a possibility. And then I have Cormos over here. And I don't know what they're all 50 grams. I don't know what I was thinking. Because none of them really go to, well, I guess that one can, those two sort of go together, right? You're not really seeing the plummy color in this one. What do we think? Would these two go together? Would these two work together? What do you think? Would these two work together? The light and the dark? I guess I could also just try and spin them up as a single colorway, but that's not really going to give me a whole lot of yardage to play with. I really like that color. That one. I know, green is not usually my color, but this combination, and emerald green is my color. So I don't know, I definitely want to attempt to spin up at least one or two of these Cormos. I've not spun Cormo yet. So that's an idea. That's still a possibility. Let's see, what else do I have here? I definitely want to spin up the loop. Definitely want to try this. I just love that. The cottons, the Malabrigos, the Shanaco and silk, the I have no clue what it is, Polworth Irish eyes, BFL greens and blues. Then I have my Rolags to practice some long draw, and the bat. Yep. And then we come to the socks again. So we shall see which ones I'm going to spin up. I may try one of the down breeds, and I may try one of the superwash merino and nylons. But I think there were like 4 or 5 different ways to spin up. 4 or 5 different techniques to spin up for sock yarn. So I may just keep these all pulled and see what I get to during Tour de Fleece. Do I think I'm going to spin all of this up? No. Do I think I may wind up spinning up something that isn't in here? Yeah, probably. But how about you guys? What are your plans for the Tour de Fleece? Are you going to be spinning? Are you going to be knitting, crocheting? What are your plans? Anything good? So I don't have any, like I said, I don't have any real plans. I definitely want to spin up some sock yarn. Okay, I guess I sort of do have plans. I want to spin up some sock yarn using the different techniques that I learned about. I definitely want to take some time to practice my long draw during the Tour de Fleece. And I want to get some of this other stuff spun up. So on that note, I think I am going to say farewell. I'm hungry. I'm going to go make myself some dinner now. Then I will need to come back up here and take pictures of all that stuff behind me so that I can get it up into my Airtable so that I know what I have purchased so far this year in regards to fiber. And, oh, and I forgot these two. The Bat from and the BFL Roving. So that is a whole lot of spinning I might be doing, or I might not be doing. Who knows what happens, especially since I'm going to go wash a fleece. I'm very excited about this. Never thought I would say that I can't wait to wash a fleece. Of course, never thought I'd be spinning either, so there is that. Well, folks, that is all that I have for this Tour de Fleece planning podcast. I will gather all this together. It will probably go in this, if it even fits now, in my little pouch here that's called Bedlam and Johnson's Witches Powders. Let me pull it out and show it to you. Isn't that a cute bag? So I'm probably going to organize that a little bit better, and that's going to be where I pull fibers to spin up for the next, 5 weeks? I will probably be doing some various, I don't know if I'm going to do full podcasts during Tour de Fleece, or if I'm just going to do maybe some weekly vlogs just to keep you guys up to date on what I am spinning up when. I will definitely do a podcast or a vlog for the weekend that I will be scouring fleece, because I want to keep a record of that in case I buy a fleece next year. I can't believe those words just came out of my mouth either. So anyway, let me know what your plans are. If you have enjoyed this episode, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and be sure to ring that bell so that you are notified of all of my future updates. If you have thoroughly enjoyed this podcast and you know someone who is a spinner, please by all means share it. This will help boost getting my podcast out to other people to see. And as always, please leave me a comment. Let me know where you are watching from. Would love to know where some of my subscribers are watching from. And I will catch you up in the next one. All right. Ciao, ciao. Love y'all. So now that you've seen my fiber closet, and you see why I need to figure out. So the Tour de Fleece. Words today, Dorothy. So it goes, the Tour de Fleece. I did manage to catch the last Melly Knits updates. I did manage to catch. And then decide which ones. Ooh, sorry about the crinkling. Let's start that one over.